Good afternoon, everyone. Please take your seats. Thank you so much. What a beautiful video that was. Such an honor to be here. I grew up in a little church where I was the only person, probably one of the only children in that church, and the rest were all gray hair. And I grew up watching Hillsong videos and dancing around my room, and to finally be what an experience. So thank you for having me. I'm going to show you a quick little clip, about 20 seconds long, of where I'm from and what I do. Very dramatic, very dramatic. So we're 40 this year, and basically we've moved the school from being 120 kids about 20 years ago, I wasn't there 20 years ago, to about 900 now, plus the preschool, which is about another 300, so we're about 1,200 at the moment. And I think that the difficulty with really dealing with preschool kids and primary school kids when it's at that scale is that you forget about focusing on the individual, which is often the problem in our country when we have so many people and yet we don't really focus on the individuals and the small problems in our country. So our theme over the last few years has been this concept of grit. And I heard it come up in a couple of speeches here and there. And what it really is that we're looking to teach kids that we need to help them find their passion. And it's so difficult to find your passion this day, and the kids really do struggle. And just at the sound team, I think the clicker stopped working ever so slightly. So we help them find their passion, and then we teach them that they need to persevere to really achieve that. And it's such a difficult thing to do, and some incredible researchers have done work on it over the last couple of years. If you could just go on to the next slide, guys. And the next one, please. So there's 4 real types of grit, and obviously we've had Dr. Angela Duckworth done a lot of work on it, and she's incredible. I actually had the opportunity to go to a conference in Washington last year where she presented. And there were 4 key types, and if you can just go to the first one, I want to tell you a little bit. We teach the kids about this one. The first one is selfie grit. And has anyone got a teenage son or daughter or anyone in the audience, you would know that it's all about the self. And our problem when teaching grit, if we're teaching kids to find their passion, to find that goal and persevere to achieve it, if it's all about me, it's not going to help. We've got to look at the others. We've got to keep other people's needs in mind, because it's when all about ourselves, we're not going to build the society we want. And that is one of our biggest problems in the country at the moment. If we could just go. Then we've got faux grit, which is basically our fake grit, where we push really hard to achieve something, but then along the way, someone else is doing it as well as we are. And we try to find sort of a bit of a shortcut. And so at times and sorry if it's a little bit on the edge of the picture I put here, but we want to avoid kids cutting corners, and sometimes the easiest way to the top is not the best way. We've got to go through the struggles, we've got to go through the hard times. Then we get stupid grit. And a lot of men in the audience probably can understand that we sometimes don't know when to turn around. We sometimes just push through and keep going with this idea of this amazing success at the end, but we forget that sometimes it's not possible. We set unrealistic goals that we can't achieve. And so we teach our kids at our school that we have to know when to turn around, when as a leader to say, let's sit this one out, boys or girls. Let's push through. Tomorrow's another day. That's really important. And then we get this incredible lady who really sums up authentic grit. And that stands for the passionate pursuit of difficult goals, not easy goals. We don't want to set easy goals. That doesn't help anyone. Difficult goals that always inspires us to do the following. We want to create better people who flourish emotionally. Sorry, my clicker. Flourish emotionally, and they also take positive risks in order to live their best possible lives. And if we can get kids to do those 4 things, then we're winning. But how do we teach it? That's the problem. So if we can just go to the next slides, guys. So those are the 4 types of grit. We want to teach authentic grit to our kids, but how do we do it? So we got Dr. Angela Duckworth, who realized that gritty people are going to be successful. She did hundreds of research papers that gritty people are going to be successful. But what she didn't know is, how do we teach it? So sitting there in the conference thinking I was great being there, she says, but I don't know how to teach it. I'm like, well, great, flew all this way for nothing. So then what we said is, okay, let's look at someone else. How are we going to achieve this? Well, we looked at this fantastic person, who's hopefully going to come up on the screen now, called, if it could come up, Professor Carol Dweck, who learned all about, or taught us all about, the growth mindset. Now, very interesting topic this, because she divides our minds into 2 kind of points of views. You either have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset meaning things are this way. You get your test back, you've only succeeded if you've got 80+%. Growth mindset saying, we want you to struggle, we want you to fail. When you fail, neurons are firing in your brain, you're making new connections, we stop boxing us into creativity, we get through the hard times, and we start to succeed. And that is what we're teaching our kids. Yes. So, as you see that on the board, and here's when my teaching side's going to come in, when you see that big failure mark on the board, and as when you're at school, university, or even today when you get a report from your boss, to the person next to you, tell them, what feelings does that word evoke in you? What feelings does that evoke in you? Probably disappointment. Let yourself down. You're a failure. Why am I doing this? I want to give up. So why do we as teachers put red crosses all over our kids' books? At Sun Valley, what we're doing at the moment is we no longer do that. We've turned it to a positive situation, and I'll show you that in a second. We no longer use the cross at our school. We use a little arrow. The little tick that you give means you've got it. Yet. We call it yet. No longer will you see that cross. You see that. You see a yet saying, you've got this. Well done. You got it first time. You're very rare. You shouldn't actually have got it, but you did. But then when it's wrong, when they've made a little mistake, we say, you just haven't got it yet, buddy. And you're going to get there. You're going to get there. And we've launched this program particularly with our grade 2s this year. And I'm going to play you probably a minute of the video. It was a bit longer, and I'll hopefully be able to share it on some sort of platform at a later stage. But a little bit of what our grade 2 kids, which are pretty funny, their way of explaining it, how they felt it has affected their lives.
Failing is good for you. It means your brain grows and you can try it next time.
Like you try to do something, but then you don't actually get to achieve it.
It means you try so hard but you don't get it right.
Sometimes you don't even get ticks at all. And then next time you can obviously try again.
That you need to try harder next time.
It doesn't mean anything, because if you keep on trying, you might become that thing you're trying to do, you might become the master of it.
It means that you don't get it right the first time, but you must try again. Yet means you got it the first time, but it's also kind of a bad thing because then your brain doesn't grow.
If you're doing a sum and you say, I can't do it, then if you ask your teacher, maybe she'll say, you can't do it just yet.
The words yet mean you've got it, and the words not yet mean you haven't got it just yet. Yet means you've got it, and not yet just means just try a little harder.
Yet means I can do it yet, and not yet means I have to do it again.
An hour.
So that's really cute because it's really the honesty coming from them. And what really stood out to us is how these kids literally come with their paper to the teachers and they say, ma'am, you've done something wrong. And the teacher says, what have I done wrong? You haven't marked me properly because I've only got ticks. And if we can change our kids from being kids that are just being celebrated for getting full marks to kids that are being celebrated for struggling. And so we don't want to teach little grade 2s how to do the perfect maths or the perfect English. We want to teach them the ability to struggle and come out on the other end. And so we want the neurons to fire, and to wrap up now, to say in our society, so to change our society, whether it's in our churches, whether it's in our schools, whether it's in our businesses, we need to find a way to change society. We need to start celebrating the struggle. We need to get people to struggle, to come on the other end, because when we struggle, we make creative people. So let's struggle together and change South Africa. Thank you, guys.